Hello everyone and welcome back to the POPSICLE KNIGHT channel. My name is Joseph and this is the POPSICLE Nightly News. I'm going to start an experimental series where I bring you updates and information related to Pokemon. Today we have breaking news. We haven't even started with Brilliant Stars yet, but Japan has gone and revealed some new cards in their upcoming Japan set S9A Battle Region. Credits go to Antoine Boulet for sending these images in translation over at Twitter, so make sure to give him a follow. And just a spoiler warning, if you haven't played the new Legend of Arceus game and don't want spoilers, well, there's going to be some spoilers in this video. You have been warned, so let's take a look at the new cards. Starting off are the new Pokemon starters. To start us off, we have Hisuian Typhlosion V. This one is not fire at all, but it's a psychic type. It has resistance to fighting and is weak to dark. And it has two attacks. The first one is Singe. For no energy at all, you can just burn your opponent. And its second attack for 3 energies, it does 120 damage, chilling fire, and then you choose a random card from your opponent's hand, I guess without looking, and then your opponent reveals that card and then shuffles it into their deck. So disruption attack, and I gotta say this art is really good. Kudos to Shin Nagasawa for this awesome art. And with the introduction of VSTAR, Hisuian Typhlosion also gets a VSTAR. It has the attack Spooky Flame for 3 energies, 180 damage, and then you put 3 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. So this is like a mini Dragapult VMAX, a little less HP, more attack, and 2 damage counters less than Dragapult VMAX. And its attack cost is more than Dragapult because Dragapult you only need 2. But this is definitely going to be a very strong card to use. Its V-Star power is Heat Haze Star for just 1 second energy. If your opponent's active Pokemon has exactly 4 damage counters on it, it is now knocked out. Instant knockout, man. As long as you have 4 damage counters, there's a lot of ways to get that exact 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. So this is definitely a broken V-Star power attack. So this is definitely going to see a lot of play. Next up, we have another starter, Hisuian Decidueye V. Instead of the usual grass type, it's now a fighting type. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Deck Hunt. For 1 fighting energy, you search your deck for up to any 2 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. That's amazing. You can search for any 2 cards in the deck. But you know what? There's still Marnie and Judge that can just outright shuffle all of those back to the deck. So it could see a lot of play, but you never know if your opponent has the Marnie or the Judge that can just shuffle it right back. But its second attack is Point Blank. For 1 fighting and 2 colorless, it does 100 damage, and this attack's damage isn't affected by effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Its V-Star form is Hisuian Decidueye V-Star. It has the attack Somersault Feathers. It deals 160 plus damage. You can discard up to 3 cards from your hand, and if you do, this attack does 30 more damage for each card discarded in this way. That's amazing. If you don't have to specifically discard any type of card and just discard any 3 card, you can deal as much as 250 damage with this attack. That's insane. And its V-Star power is you draw cards until you have 8 cards in hand. It's an amazing V-Star power, but I don't see it being used a lot since there's a lot more V-Star power, probably more useful to deal knockouts or hit for a lot of damage. And this one probably can be used during desperate times, but I'd rather use another V-Star power because you can only use 1 per game. But it could be a very useful ability nonetheless. Moving on to our third starter is Hisuian Samurott V. It has 2 attacks. First one is Knock Off for 1 dark energy. So instead of the water, it's now a dark type. Discard up to 2 Pokemon tool cards attached to your opponent's Pokemon. And its second attack is Shadow Slash for 3 dark energy. It deals 180 damage, and then you discard an energy from this Pokemon. Interesting, but I still think it's weaker than the other 2 that we've already seen. While the Hisuian Samurott V is weak, can this V-Star make up for it? It has the attack Merciless Blade for 2 dark energy. It does 110 plus damage, and if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, this attack does 110 more damage. So 220 damage for 2 energies is actually not too bad. Its V-Star power is an ability, put 4 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So during desperate occasions, 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon, it could be useful, but I don't think it's that good. Overall, it's alright. I think this is the weaker of the 3 Hisuian starter V-Stars. And that's my take on it. We're also getting a new supporter card from the Hisuian region, Silene. Flip to coins, choose a number of cards from your discard pile up to the number of heads. Put that card you chose on top of your deck. If you choose more than one card, put them on top of your deck in any order. That's amazing because if you can get any card from your discard pile, this card is going to be very amazing. I think this is going to be a very powerful card that's going to be used a lot. We also got a new stadium from the Hisuian region, Jubilife Village. Once during each player's turn, that player may shuffle their hand into their deck, then draw 5 cards. If they do, that player's turn ends. This stadium is a nice drawing engine. However, the fact that you have to end your turn when you use it makes it a little bit more useful. If you can spare to end your turn just so you can draw cards, then this stadium is going to be amazing. We also have the supporter card Roxanne. You can play this card only if your opponent has 3 or less prize cards left. Both players shuffle their hand into their deck, then you draw 6 cards and your opponent draws 2. This is a really nice disruption card because if your opponent draws 2 cards and then they brick, and that can potentially help you to catch up, to set up, and perhaps get more prize card in the long run. And I can see this being better than Marnie, but there is the fact that your opponent has to have 3 or less prize cards left. But you know what? This can be very effective late game when you're running behind on prizes. I can see this being really good on single prize decks. Very cool card for sure. Next up is an item card, Canceling Cologne. Until the end of this turn, your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities, including Pokemon that become active this turn. This is an amazing item card, man. I can see this being used in a lot of decks, if not all of them, because it can just turn off your opponent's active Pokemon's abilities. I can think of annoying cards like Weezing with the Neutralizing Gas ability. There's also Duraludon VMAX, or any other Pokemon that has abilities that just blocks a lot of different type of Pokemon like Decidueye, things like that. So this, you can just turn those abilities off and just get through that ability and attack and knock their Pokemon out. So this is an amazing item card. This is definitely going to be a very useful utility within a lot of builds. Next up, we have Wait and See Turbo item card. You can use this card only if you go second and only on your first turn. Search your deck for a basic energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck, and then your turn ends. This could be very amazing. I mean, a lot of people was looking down on the VIP pass because, you know, you have to have it in your first turn. But this one could be good because this one is an energy accelerator, which is really good. I can think of other Pokemon that can accelerate energy during their first turn, like Leafeon V. And that one is very useful because now you can attack on your second turn if you have energy on your Pokemon. That allows you to have 3 energies on your second turn. So this is definitely going to see a lot of play, and this is going to be an amazing card to have in your build. Next up, we have a Stage 2 Pokemon, Vileplume. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Mega Drain. It does 50 damage, heal 30 damage. And then its second attack, while it's 3 energy, Allergy Storm, it does 90 damage. Then you flip a coin. If it's heads, your opponent can play support cards from their hand during their next turn. And if it's tails, your opponent can't play item cards from their hand during their next turn. So it's a win-win situation, although it depends what your opponent can and cannot use. I can see them going around this attack, but it could be a very annoying effect of this attack for sure. Next up, we have Pyroar. It has the ability Scorching Aura. Put 4 damage counters instead of 2 on your opponent's burnt Pokemon between turns. Finally, some ability that can actually amplify the burn condition. Although your opponent can flip a coin if it's heads, that burn goes away. At least you have this damage counter increased. And I wonder if this can stack. It can deal as much as 16 damage counters for a Pokemon that is burnt. It also has the attack Fire Fang, 90 damage. Flip a coin if heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now burnt. Speaking of which, its ability actually works hand in hand with its attack. So really interesting card. I can't wait to use this one. And then we got the Hisuian Basculin. The first attack has no cost. School Gathering. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. I can see this being played a lot for sure, to set up their basic Pokemon for no energy cost. Its second attack is Tackle, 10 damage for 1 water energy. Hisuian Basculin evolves into Hisuian Basculegion. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Spiteful Dive for 1 water energy. It does 30 plus damage. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 90 more damage and your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. I like the fact that you can deal more damage, but the extra confusion towards your opponent actually is very disruptive too, because that may prevent them from attacking, especially if they flip tails, and that's even going to give damage to their attacking Pokemon. Its second attack is Jet Headbutt. For 3 energies, it does 80 damage. Next, we have a new design of Gallade. It has the ability Buddy Catch. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This is an amazing ability, but the fact that it's a stage 2, it could get a little gimmicky, but the fact that you can search for any supporter cards and put it straight to your hand is amazing. Its attack, Swirling Slice, it does 160 damage, and move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. I can see this being played a lot though. Just like Inteleon with the quick shooting ability, everybody thought that it's not going to be good because it's stage 2. But you know what? This is a stage 2, but its ability is amazing. So I can definitely see this being played in a lot of decks. Next is Diancie. It has the ability Princess Curtain. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, whenever your opponent plays a support card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to your benched basic Pokemon. That's amazing. If all your Pokemon are basic Pokemon, Boss's Order isn't going to work on that. So very circumstantial for sure, because it only affects your basic Pokemon, or it only protects your basic Pokemon, but it could be useful nonetheless. And it has the attack Spike Draw. For 1 colorless energy, it does 20 damage, and then you draw 2 cards. Then we got another Hisuian form. It evolves from, I don't know if it's a Hisuian Quillfish, but this one is Hisuian Overqwil. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Intense Poison. For no energy cost, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned, and you put 5 damage counters instead of 1 on that Pokemon during Pokemon checkup. That's a lot of damage. Put 5 damage counters. That's crazy. Its second attack is Quill Sting. It does 50 damage for 1 dark and 1 colorless. The defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. Man, while your opponent cannot retreat, that 5 damage counters will just continue to eat away at that Pokemon, eventually knocking it out. And this Pokemon is just intense and so scary, man. All that spike. Crazy artwork. I love it. Next up, we got Mightyena. It has the ability Hustle Bark. If your opponent has any Pokemon VMAX in play, this Pokemon's attack costs 3 colorless less. So, if your opponent has any VMAX, it has a free attack. Its attack is Wild Tackle. It does 160 damage, and this Pokemon does 60 damage to itself. While its attack is self-destructive, 160 damage can 2-hit KO most VMAXs in the game, and you can probably increase its attack with the new tool card that we're going to get. So this is going to be a very interesting one-prizer build that I'm looking forward to making myself. Next up, we got Hoothoot. It has the ability Keep Watch. Basic energy attached to your benched Pokemon cannot be discarded by an effect of your opponent's item or supporter card. This is a really nice ability to protect your Pokemon from crushing hammers, Team Yell Grunt, or whatever. So I could see some play, especially it's a basic Pokemon. Very easy to use with this ability. And then we have Keldeo. This one's a very basic Pokemon. It has the attack Kickoff for 20 damage. Its second attack is Line Force, 10 plus damage, and this attack does 20 more damage for each of your benched Pokemon. Nothing too special, but cute. Then we have another Stage 2 Rhyperior. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Boulder Blast. For 1 fighting energy, it does 50 plus damage. Discard the top card of your deck. If that card is an energy, this attack does 100 more damage. Then attach that energy to this Pokemon. This is kind of like Colossal, but deals a lot more damage for just 1 fighting energy. I can see this being played with Oranguru to switch one of your energy cards from your hand to the top of your deck so that you can use this attack for 150 damage. Its second attack is Rock Tackle, 180 damage. It costs 4 energies though, but this Pokemon does 30 damage to itself. But you know what? With Twin Energy and the double energy that's coming out, this one is going to be usable for sure. And then we got a Stage 1 Roserade. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Poison Vine for 1 grass energy, 30 damage, and then your opponent's active is now poisoned. And its second attack is Assassin Rose for 1 grass, 1 colorless, 60 damage. And if your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition, this attack also does 60 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So 60 in the active and 60 to the bench. Could be interesting. With Telescopic Sight, you can deal 90 damage to the bench. So very interesting card for a one prizer. Not too bad. And then we got Wassy's favorite elephant, Mamoswine. It is a stage 2 Pokemon. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Blizzard. For 1 water and 2 colorless, it does 80 damage, and this attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. And the second attack is Iceberg Press. For 2 water and 2 colorless, it does 170 damage. Discard an energy from this Pokemon, and the defending Pokemon cannot attack during your opponent's next turn. That second attack is actually pretty cool. That prevents your opponent from attacking. You could probably use Galar Mine to keep your opponent from retreating, and then you can just keep hitting it for 170 damage. Although you discard an energy, you can just reattach one as long as you have one access from your hand to this Pokemon. So I can see this Pokemon being used, and you can 2-hit KO a lot of Pokemon VMAX in the game. So very interesting card, very powerful. And just to recap, I know this is old news, but we still got new other cards from the Hisuian region. We got this Rhyperior. It has the ability fast-paced. Once during your turn, you may draw a card. An amazing ability for sure. It has the attack Extrasensory. For 2 colorless energy, it does 40 plus damage, and if you have the same number of cards in hand as your opponent, this attack does 80 more damage. The attack is okay, but the ability definitely is going to see a lot of play. You just have to evolve this stage 1, and then you can draw extra card every turn. And then we got the infamous Kleavor. It evolves from Scyther. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Lumberjack Hack. For 2 colorless, flip 2 coins. If both are heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now knocked out. Instant knockout is always amazing. You could probably use the Glimwood Tangled Stadium to reflip those coins and be able to knock out even VMAX with just 2 colorless energy. That's amazing. Its second attack is Frenzied Tackle for 2 fighting energy. Water and 20 damage, and then this Pokemon does 30 damage to itself. Pretty cool card. And then we got the supporter card, Kamado. Choose 1 card from your hand and discard all other cards from your hand, then draw 4 cards. You can't use this card if it is the last card in your hand. It's a very interesting mechanic. I don't know if it's going to see a lot of play, but it might be good for something. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to combo with another Pokemon or something like that, but very interesting mechanic. Next up is an item card, Honey. Choose 1 of your Pokemon, then flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, heal 40 from that Pokemon. This is kind of like Lucky Ice Pop, but you can only use 1 with this one, and it depends on how many heads you get, and then you heal 40 from that Pokemon. So, I don't know. This is going to be a troll card. If you enjoy flipping coins, and if you think you have the RNG powers to flip a lot of heads, then by all means. I don't know if this is going to be very effective, but this is going to be a very interesting troll card for sure. Next up, we have Vespiquen. It's a stage 1 Pokemon. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Honey Rush. For 1 grass energy, you may reveal any number of honey cards from your hand, and this attack does 60 damage for each card revealed in this way. This is exactly like Miltank with the Moo Moo Milk, and I guess you don't really need to use honey as much. You just need to have it on hand and be able to attack for 240 damage. That's insane for 1 grass energy. You just have to have all 4 honey item cards in your hand to do that much damage. This is going to be a very interesting card to play. And its second attack is Pierce. For 1 grass and 2 colorless, it does 90 damage. And that's all the news we have for you today. Again, credits to Antoine Boulay for the updates and translations. Make sure to follow him on Twitter @TwanLay. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicle Nightly News. Have a good night. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicle Knight channel, and as always, stay safe and have a great day.